So what do you say to more of the Chinese? Because I always say we need a mixed economy, right? Like what you said to me was so. I'm going to use it on stage. I'm going to say, well, this question shouldn't be, are we for communism or are we for capitalism? I think what you're trying to say, are we for freedom or are we for slavery? But inside, China, it really isn't one of those old school kind of like communist control everything, every aspect of economy, state-wise country. It is a little bit different. I mean, I understand they're in charge of the infrastructure, the military, the education system. They are in charge of healthcare and stuff. But when it comes to restaurants and whatnot and other types of businesses, it's capitalism go run wild with it. And they have markets in China. And from what I understand, and I don't know if these statistics still hold true, at one point, home ownership in China, there was a better per capita person home ownership in China than America. Same thing with small businesses, right? Because our generation here in the United States, we can't buy in houses anymore. We can barely even rent in houses anymore, right? We're moving back in with our parents. I live at my mom's house. It's in Boca and Highland Beach, so that's not so bad. But still, I mean, I'm forced to do so because everybody's really having through some hard times. Can you give a little bit of insight to kind of like the Chinese economy and how they are so successful of moving people out of extreme poverty? Because the other day on the show, and I'll be really brief, everybody's talking about this bridge. I'm like, well, look at the way the Chinese build these bridges. They're building high-speed rail all over the place. They got these unbelievable bridges they're building that are just modern-day bridges and stuff. Explain a little bit about the Chinese financial system when people try to say that they're full-blown communism.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like you said, you got these anomalies when people say, oh, it's a commie country. It's like, well, they've got a more bustling, growing, thriving entrepreneur class than we do. Our what we had as a small and medium system of enterprises has been destroyed by design since especially the 70s. Whereas in China, you've got it growing on a massive rate. Extremely rich Chinese as well. I mean, billionaires, like there's more per capita billionaires than anywhere else in the world. That's the difference being, though, is not that you can't have private things in China or have private industries and make profit with investors. You can do all of those things. It's just that those private aspects of the economy can't trump the sovereignty of the nation state. So the nation still is in the dominant role when it comes to the private class. Whereas in the West, we've had to turn on our heads, and Wall Street and the private entities that utilize the cover of capitalism to take control oligarchically of societies that are targeted have become the dominant thing through the Bilderberger Group, the murder of our nationalist leaders and other things that we're otherwise doing. Like, that's why we lost our regulation. We used to regulate Wall Street. We had Glass-Steagall. We had national banking procedures like under the Greenbacks, or what was done with the Reconstruction Finance Corporation that built the New Deal in the 30s. That's all gone. That's illegal under the logic of what was brought in by Kissinger and the Trilateral Commission depopulationists. Whereas so in China, you actually have, as you say, the increased statistics. These statistics speak well. They went from having in 1999 3% of their population in middle class. Today, it's about 53% of the population in only 20 years. Their average life expectancy is now 78.9 years of age, whereas in the U.S. it's collapsed down to 76.9 years of age. They've pulled over 1 billion people out of poverty through the different way of thinking about their security, about the idea of what economics is. They've allowed the control of their national banks. They never privatized the way we did with our Fed and the way you have most of the central banks privatized. China's kept control of state and banks. There's 4 big ones that allow for the emissions of greenback style credit for 10, 20-year projects, which is what you need if you're going to be able to create real wealth, is think long-term. That means credit that's tied to future projects that will have future productivity that'll take time, but that will then extinguish the debt you incur in the present in order to make it happen. And it's tied to an idea of actually uplifting quality of life of people in poor countries that have been abused by empire. So if you look at the way China has dealt with the colonized peoples of Africa or Latin America, they're actually training whole generations of engineers who then go and build the things and maintain and improve upon the high-speed rail networks, of which China has about 38,000 kilometers built up in only 15 years. We have 0 in Canada. 38,000 kilometers. They got magnetic levitation friggin' rail, and they're helping other countries in Africa and
Latin America
do it as well. And Latin America do it, yeah.